Good evening, good evening, good evening, and welcome to Yuletide. Edmonton Gore proudly presents Storytime with Krampus. Today we still continue on with the book The Krampus and the Old Dark Christmas by Ridenour. Yes, I'm probably pronouncing his name wrong. And Krampus' soul. Today, we look at Knecht Ruprecht. Probably pronounced that wrong too. I'm sorry. In Germany, the most well-known dark companion is Knecht Servant Ruprecht. The character today is typically dressed in a dark, hooded robe, accented with fur, wears a dark, bushy beard, carries switches, and totes a large sack once used to carry off naughty children. Now holds gifts. Other than differences in appearance, Knecht Ruprecht distinguishes himself from me as a solitary companion of Saint Nick, never appearing in multiples or en masse, as in the Krampus novel. Ralph does not himself, like me, use switches on misbehaving children, but instead only makes a gift of them to the unruly children or his parents as a reminder. Punishment due. Occasionally, his face may be blackened with ash, or he may even carry a bag of ashes with which to thump the unruly and leave a telltale mark, just as in some areas of the thrall. I smear victims with a mixture of lard and ashes. The blackened face, which here does not carry the baggage of American racism, probably once served as a simple way to make the face frighteningly unrecognizable. It may also have been associated with the sooty visage of a local blacksmith who worked in a fiery environment himself, indicative of the devil. Blackened faces are commonly a way of obscuring the faces of Christmas murmurs throughout Europe. And in the case of English tradition, the performance's anonymity was said to be essential to the magical luck imparted by visiting murmurs. Other theories suggest that the faces were blackened because these figures represented the dead traveling in the winter nights under their masks. Krampus loft participants today still blacken their faces, obscuring not only the visible areas around the eyes, but often blackening their entire face, whether visible or not. The identity of Knecht Ruprecht, as explored in Jacob Grimm's Duches Montrigi, 1835, more likely begins with mentions of a 17th century figure in Nuremberg Christmas processions. The name chosen for Nicholas's servant would have been stereotypical. Henrik and Ruprecht, he writes, were once common names for serving men, as Hans and Claus are now. And Grimm further suggests that Ruprecht could have had denomic associations, remarking that Rumpel and Rumbel were cited in witchcraft trials as names of a little demon, a companion or feline familiar of those being tried. In English, Robin Goodfellow, a demonized pagan figure, is sometimes called Puck. He writes may also be related to, as Robin is a French or anglicized cousin of Rumpel. Despite the contemporary Germany for more vicious, punishing roles as assumed by me, tends now to emphasize Herr's role in gift-bearing services over that of a punisher. Though it is not strictly modern development, in some regions, Germany's northeastern Saxony and others, Ruprecht traditionally assumes the duty of handing out children's gifts. And this friendlier guise today is suggested in a television show, The Simpsons, where the family's dog is named Santa's little helper and is retained in the German as Knecht Ruprecht. Now let's look at the Christ kind and the Wischerman. Luther also suggested that gift-giving customs be celebrated on Christmas rather than St. Nicholas Day, New Year, or other associations, and the role of gift-giver assigned to the Holy Christ was a time when it came to be understood as the child of Mary and Joseph and the Christ child, Christ child. When it comes to impersonating this figure, a child rather than an infant will be the most practical choice, and is led to the rather odd custom of the role falling to a teenaged female who in earlier times might be regarded as more pure or childlike, while certainly confounding, maybe even a tad blasphemous to the English speakers. This particular gender-bending figure is familiar throughout Germany in the form of the annually crowned and anglicized garbed adolescent girl. He presides over the centuries-old Christ Handel, market of Nuremberg, where thousands make seasonal visits to shop for Christmas trinkets or to enjoy a mulled wine and gingerbread. The tradition of the Christ kind bring gifts on Christmas Eve was also later taken up by German and Austrian Catholics as a second gift-giving occasion in addition to St. Nicholas Day. Today, the figure of the Christ kind is well on its way to being edged out by the more modern figure of the Wasserman or Christmas man, now virtually indistinguishable from the modern American Santa Claus. The slow overshadowing in Catholic regions of the Christ kind by the Wasserman is locally become a hot-button issue, understood perhaps but fairly as one of American cultural imperialism, while centrally influenced by America's 19th century Santa Claus or the UK's Father Christmas. The Wischerman also drew on homegrown traditions of rustic, fur-clad gift-givers related to Krampus Nicholas hybrids disguised. One of our cited sources for the character is actually the work of Austrian artist Moritz von Scheidlund for a Bavarian publication, Monarch Popular Oberligen, which in 1847 featured illustrations of a holiday gift giver simply identifies as Herr Winter. Influence ran both ways, however, with the American Santa Claus tradition also embodied elements of the continental dark companion and European moomerings traditions, as will be discussed and read in later